Hello again, everybody. Whiskey River here again with another Path of Titans gameplay video on Arazoa. This one here is about tips and tricks and advice on how to territory control or territory challenge, territory fight with another Rex. So this is all 1v1 Rex v Rex video. So my first piece of advice is, in this clip here, see how I'm running? It appears that I'm running away from that Rex. Right there, that enemy Rex just popped Deep Rumble. That is a mistake. So the whole thing that I'm doing here, that Rex that you see over there is one that I'd already territoried out. So this is the second one that's come in to fight me. The first one just quit, but he popped Deep Rumble, that enemy Rex right there. So now I'm popping mine. So what I did was I just counted to 30. His Deep Rumble is out. Is run out, and now I have Deep Rumble, and so now this is the situation you want to fight in right here. You just face tank. He's got deep. I have Deep Rumble. He does not have Deep Rumble, and all you got to do is face tank, and you know you have an advantage because Deep Rumble gives you more defense, more health than the other Rex does. So all you got to do is just face tank. A Rex v Rex fight, all things being equal, is going to be a coin toss. It's really going to come down to who got the first bite. If you go to the death, if you get the first bite and everything's exactly equal, then the one with the first bite is going to win. So you have to try to somehow stack the odds in your favor, and there's a number of ways you can do that. The first one is don't pop Deep Rumble right away. Try to save your Deep Rumble, try to bait their Deep Rumble, and try to get into a situation where you're fighting with Deep Rumble, and they're not, and they don't have Deep Rumble. A lot of Rex players get all salty about it because they, like this guy right here, was talking a bunch of trash in chat. I think it'll probably show up later in the video, but they think that you're running away at the very beginning of the fight. No, you're not running away. You're allowed to position and try to, gain an advantage in the fight when you're in a fight. It's not just pop Deep Rumble, rush up, and then start biting each other. You can do that if you want to, but it's not a successful tactic. You're not going to win most territory fights that way. For some reason, a lot of Rex players think that that's like some type of a rule of engagement or something, and they call you a dirty player if you don't do that. No, it's being a smart player. In my opinion, you're a dumb player if all you do is pop Deep Rumble and rush in and start fighting, and then when you lose, you start talking trash. That's just a bad player. That's a sore loser that lost and now is trying to find some excuse why they lost. Well, the reason you lost is just because you were a worse player. Just learn from it and get better. I lose Terry's and I say, hey, GG, and I try to figure out what I did wrong so that I can improve my gameplay and get better the next time. So nothing more that I don't dislike anything more than somebody that's like a sore loser, because they ruin the game and their attitude is toxic, and it creates a situation where you get angry about a scenario when you're playing a game and you're supposed to have fun. Just say GG and move on. It's all good. It's just a game, and sometimes you're going to lose, and it's okay. So positioning and tactics is a huge component of a successful Rex territory contest. The other thing is try to get a high ground if you can. If you can get a higher ground than the opponent, that'll give you a little bit of an advantage because you might bite their head more than they're biting your head. And a Rex does take more damage in the head than it does in the body. So avoid getting your head bit and try to bite the head of the opponent. In Arazoa, when you're in a territory contest, when you're done, you are allowed to escort the opposing player out, like I do here. And a lot of people, for some reason, don't think you're allowed to do that, or they get upset when you do that. But it's totally within the rule set, and you're allowed to do it. And you really should do it because a lot of players don't really read the rules, or maybe they're new and they just don't know. But they don't leave the area, and you've got to get that Rex out of your area because you can be the only apex in your particular POI at any given time. And you don't want that one returning, and maybe they, who knows, maybe they sometimes they change their skins and come back and try to fight you again after they heal up or whatever. But you don't want them hunting in your area. You don't want them killing stuff in your area. You want to just get them out as soon as possible. So I recommend always escorting them out. Also, when you're escorting them out, you're still technically in a territory contest, and so you can't be third-partied. And see how low health I am right now? I don't want to get third-partied, so I want to, try to remain in this territory contest as long as possible so that I have some protection. And then the other thing it repositioned me here to get into these bushes so that I could hide. Because next step after you're done with the territory is you got to heal up. So that's another tip is always think about your territory contest before you do it. If there's a bunch of other predators around, I recommend just forecalling and leaving. Maybe initiate the territory and start on it, and then to get a couple bites in and forecall and leave, and then hopefully they choose, if they're going to third party, they choose the other Rex and not you. But yeah, be real careful about the territory engagements. It's not typically worth it because you guys are both going to be low health at the end. So the other thing is don't rush into battle. Like I kind of mentioned it before, but a new Rex player will typically just rush right in and start trying to fight. It is important to be aggressive and try to get the first bite, but don't do it without thinking about it. You want to try to evaluate what the other player, how good is this other player. I like to really size them up in the beginning. Like right here, I'm trying to see, is this player gonna pop deep rumble? What are they gonna do? How are they behaving? So far they're not popping deep rumble. They're kind of doing the same thing I'm doing. So I can tell this is probably a more experienced Rex player. They're going up there right now to get high ground. So I'm thinking, all right, I don't want to fight there because they're higher than me. So I'm going to move up to higher ground myself. I want to get this engagement as much into my advantage as possible. So he's doing the same thing. So this is a decent Rex player here. So they're moving up to high ground. At least they appear to be at the first outset of this fight. They're not doing all the telltale noob stuff where they're rushing in and biting and all that kind of stuff. So this one here is being patient. I'm kind of getting this pond in between us because I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to exactly initiate and engage this fight. Maybe they'll pop deep rumble. Sometimes, the longer you wait and the longer you kind of size them up, we'll get them impatient and they'll pop deep rumble. That's really my first tactic, is to try to bait the deep rumble. So here he's, so now right here, this is another thing. He's got charge bite. See that? So that's the other thing I want to find out. Are they using charge bite? If they're using charge bite and they hit you with it, you're going to be in deep trouble, because that will win the fight for them if they land it. Now it's hard to land if you see it coming. See, in this case, I knew he was going to try to charge bite me, so I popped deep rumble and I ran in and started biting him and attacking him and being aggressive. That's, now you can see here I'm tail riding this one, and I ended up having a flawless victory on this. So at the beginning, even though they kind of knew what they were doing, it turned out that they probably didn't have a ton of experience. They had the understanding of how to do a Rex Terri, but you see there, that was a flawless victory. I didn't take a single bite from that. And I successfully tail rode that Rex the entire time. I dodged the charge bite easily in that case, and then I popped my deep rumble and I rushed in and started biting him. Now, he popped deep rumble after I popped mine, but it was a real big mistake in his case, because he did it when I was within range to bite him. So all I did was I got like 3 or 4 bites on him, because when you pop deep rumble, you're in a situation where you can't bite. You have to wait for that animation to end. And that was a big mistake on his part, because I got 3 or 4 good bites, and I think he realized it at that point in time, and that's why he started trying to run away. But that just allowed me to get many bites. In this one here, this guy here did pop deep rumble, and he's also got charge bite, and so I'm dodging the charge bite and letting his deep rumble run out. And again, this isn't running away from a fight. This is just positioning yourself to gain an advantage in the fight. So now that I know he has his done, I've got mine ready to go, and I'm gonna, as soon as it's ready, like right now, I'm gonna turn and fight. And now I know that I've got a defense advantage. I've got more health than that Rex at this point in time, so I'm just gonna face tank him, and that's what will secure me to win in this case. Headbutt can be used in a Rex fight. It's not really going to be helpful. Headbutt and bone break are, in a Rex v Rex, not the best things to use. Situational, every once in a while, maybe, but the problem is that when you do a bone break on another Rex, that is a 3-4 second cooldown. That's going to give you time to get 2 to 3 bites in, and all they did was get a bone break. Biting is way more DPS than a bone break. So if you get 2 to 3 bites in exchange for their 1 bone break, you've got an advantage right then and there. Especially if you have deep rumble and it's a sure win. And you can see the health of my Rex at the end of all these fights is very low. It always comes down to the wire. I say you go to the death. I mean, it's fun growing a Rex in my opinion. I don't really care if I die, and I'm not going to try to forecall in the middle of a fight. And like I said, unless there's third parties around or anything like that, something like that, then I will. But for the most part, I'm just going to go to the death. A lot of players will forecall even if they're winning. They might not know, but they can see that you're not quitting, and they get scared, and they'll forecall, and they'll leave, and you'll win the Terri. So that's another good way to do it. In this case here, these 2 Latins were some new players. It's in Arazoa. It's against the rules for Latins to attack any kind of apex, and B, they're not allowed a third party in a territory contest. So they broke 2 rules right there, both of those Latins, and I did report these people in this case. So I was kind of like worried on this one. I didn't know, even though I could tell I had the advantage of this person. But these Latins, look, they got a bunch of bleed and they did a ton of damage to me. And so I thought, oh man, I might be in trouble. I got lucky, and this person used a headbutt and used a bone break. And so I said, you know what, I'm just going to go to the end and let's see where this takes me. And luckily that lessened his DPS enough compared to mine, and I got him in the end, just barely. Yeah, so that's another tip there is try not to use bone break or headbutt in a fight, in a Rex v Rex fight. Be patient, you know, at the beginning of the battle. You don't need to rush in. Don't get baited by deep rumble. The way I kind of approach them is that I size them up. If they're not popping deep rumble, I don't pop deep rumble either. At some point I'll engage, and if it's just an engagement where you're just bite for bite, then I'm probably just going to forecall and leave, because if you know the fight is reduced to a coin toss, then what's the point, you know? And even if you got the first bite, some of the bites when you're exchanging bites, if any of their bites hit your head more than your bites hit their head, then they're going to have a slight advantage. And sometimes it's kind of hard to notice that in a fight. On this one right here, this is a good example of a preemptive deep rumble. One of the very rare cases where I'll pop it first, but I knew that Rex player couldn't see me, and they're still popping their deep rumble right now, and I got 2 bites in before he could even bite me, because he was still doing deep rumble. And he didn't see that I did deep rumble, so he's overconfident right now. He thinks that he has deep rumble and I don't. And there he did a charge bite, and it landed. It wasn't a full charge bite, but this player that I'm fighting against right now, they think that they have an advantage because they think that they got a charge bite on me, and they think that they got deep rumble and I don't. When really I have deep rumble, and really his charge bite did help him, but my regular bites is still going to out DPS what he can do in this situation. And it was really, really close. It came down to probably 1 bite right there, as you can see, maybe 2, but I still got the win. So that brings me to the charge bite versus bone break. I keep bone break on and regular bite. I don't ever use charge bite. A lot of players, it's another successful tactic that players do, and I know a lot of good players, and I've even lost to some good players that use charge bite. And if you're good at charge bite and you can get a full charge bite on the other Rex first, then you'll probably win the fight even if they pop deep rumble. I don't use it because especially in Arazoa, you can be third partied. You can't be third partied in a territory contest, but once that territory contest is over, they can come attack you. And it's not against the rules for a player, and as cheesy as I think it is and as cheap as I think it is, and I don't agree with it, I don't tend to do it. There's certain situations where I will do it, but a lot of players are really, really petty and cheap, and they'll be hiding in the bushes watching this territory contest go down, and they'll just wait for you to be weak on health and low on health. So have I done that? Yes, I have done that. I don't want to be a hypocrite, but I've only done it when I'm starving and I've been looking around for a meal for sometimes literally, more than 2 hours, and I happen upon a territory contest. Then it's an opportunity that I will take advantage of. I'm not gonna lie. Like if I'm hungry and I happen to be walking through the forest, oh look what's going on. It's a Rex Terri. Okay, you know what? I haven't been able to eat anything in 2 hours I've been searching. Well, yeah, I'll probably third party in that case. But what I'm talking about is the players that's all they do. They hunt, they go around Grand Plains and they hang around and they just wait to third party somebody that's low. To me, I mean, to each their own. I guess if that's how you enjoy your gameplay and that's fun for you, then do it. I don't get it personally. I don't know what's fun about killing something in 2 bites because somebody else already did all the work for you. I play the game to have fun and to have a challenge. You know, I want a challenging gameplay. I like to fight gigas. I like to fight rexes. I like to fight paras and a herd. You know, and bars boldias and the big stuff and the herds of stuff. It actually requires you to employ some skill and some tactics, and it's a challenge. The funnest part of the game for me is I love the realism aspect of it, but I also love the challenge. So I don't like to go after real easy. I typically don't go after babies. I don't go after, the guy that's hurt after a Terri. I just don't make it a practice of doing that stuff because I don't really like it when it's done to me. I think it's kind of a cheap move. It's a cheesy move. It's sort of a pathetic way to play the game in my opinion, and I just don't like it. I don't like people that do it, and so I avoid it. Now, ambushing is a whole different story. If you are a Rex and you're hunting in the forest and there's a little baby there and the whole purpose of what you're doing is hunting and you're hungry and you get a good ambush, I think that's perfectly fine in my book. I enjoy doing that because the baby can usually get away from you, can run faster than you, can hide in places that you can't get to. So if you can ambush it, then I think that's a successful ambush, regardless of the prey. If I have a choice and there's like a herd and the herd has babies, I usually don't go after the babies. I usually go after the adults for the challenge of it. But for the most part, unless it's an ambush or an opportunistic situation where you're hungry and you're hunting, I don't target easy stuff. I don't go after people that have been damaged really badly after a territory contest or anything like that. So that's just my little rant on third parties in Arazoa. One tactic that people employ is they try to do this thing where they'll bone break you and then they'll like stand just out of your reach and then they do this swivel where they sway back and forth and they bite and then they sway to dodge your bite and then they sway back and they bite and then they sway away to dodge your bite and they sway back to bite again, and they do that over and over and over again. And the goal there is to get headshots and make them miss, or to get bites that you land bites and they're not landing bites, and that you're getting headshots. That works sometimes, but usually it doesn't work. So I don't really do that. So those are all my tips for Rex v Rex gameplay. Hopefully you got something out of this. I appreciate you watching. Thank you. Please like and subscribe, and feel free to comment. I do respond to all my comments, and I'll see you out there in Gondua. Thanks again for watching. Bye.